the bungalow. I'm here today with VR, which you already know because you read the title. However, you didn't know that I'm having a cup of mud in my Brtv mug. Now you do. So, this here's a VR for C Smokes, aka Eric Weaver. Well, Mr. Weaver, congratulations on your 2 years, 600 subs. That is awesome. You are worth so much more subs than that, so there are many more to come for you, my friend. I guarantee that. So your question was, show something else that we collect other than pipes and tobacco. So one is cigars, which that really doesn't count because that's a tobacco, but there's my cigar humidor if you've never seen it. Another thing I like to collect is autographed memorabilia. I have not collected any really the last couple of years, just because of the simple fact that the way a lot of these athletes are acting these days, I just have no desire. Although I will say this, most of the autographs I collect were childhood, not heroes, but they were childhood idols that I watched. So it all started with this first piece, and then I'll get into the next ones that I have here. I have so many more items to show you. However, they're in the basement, they're in boxes. They just never made it out. So, it is what it is, I guess. But this is the piece that started it all. And it is my New York Yankee clock. Now, I was married before and went through a divorce. Got into my first bachelor pad after I sold the house. And got into my first bachelor pad and I needed a clock. And of course, paying child support and trying to figure out how to get myself situated because I didn't have mommy and daddy to go home to, or, I just didn't, I was on my own. And it all happened so quickly that I was kind of in shell shock. I wish I could have had mom and dad to go home to, but that wasn't in the cards. So I got a small 2-bedroom apartment on the top floor of a house. And so I didn't have a clock and I needed a clock. And I knew that I'd had a Yankee clock in my man cave. And I thought, well, I could use it, so I thought, why not? So I went ahead and broke it out and hung it up, and I hated it. I'm not a big Yankees fan. Of course, I'm a Pittsburgh Pirates fan. So I was not thrilled to have to look at that clock to see what time it was, but I needed a clock. So I hung it up. Me and my buddy were there at the apartment one night. We were drinking and shocker, and we were having a good time and just shooting the bull. And he asked what time it was, and he looked at the clock, and I had said, that started a conversation about how much I hated that bloody clock. And he says to me, he goes, well, you can fix it. And I'm like, how? And he says, well, he says, there's an old New York Yankee coming to Harrisburg in like 2 weeks, and he's signing autographs. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, well, you love baseball, you love sports. I'm like, yeah. He says, well, go and get the guy to autograph the clock. It can't be that expensive. You know, the older players don't ask as much to sign stuff as the new players do. And I says, oh, okay. Well, you say so. Because he collects autographs. So I'm like, that makes sense. So 2 weeks goes by. I get in the car, put this ugly clock in the car with me and drive to the mall. Walk up, buy my ticket. There's a fella sitting at the table signing autographs. I walked up. He reached his hand out, shook my hand, introduced himself, which took me back as if we were just meeting at a friendly gathering, you know. I introduced myself, and he said, what do you got there? And I told him, I said, look, I said, I hate this clock. I says, but I'm a newly bachelor. I said, I need a clock in my house. And my buddy said that, you know, maybe an autograph will make me want to be around it more. And he chuckled and laughed, and he goes, you know, he says, a lot of people seem to collect autographs. He says, you never know. I was like, all right. So he popped the plastic off of it, the front here. I don't know if I can do it or not. Yeah, I can. Maybe that'll prevent the glare. So then he proceeded to ask where he wanted me to sign it, because at that point there was no signatures on it. And I said, well, Mr. Dittmer, you can sign it anywhere you want. So he signed it right here. And he even put 58 World Series champs on it. And we took pictures together. I put the cap back on it, took it home, hung it up, fell in love. And look what it's become. There's John Montefiasco, which they called him the Count. There's J.J. Stones, Art Dittmer, Cliff Johnson. There's Mickey Rivers from the 1977-78 championship team. There's Don Gullett, pitcher from the 77-78 championship team. And Tommy John, the famous Tommy John surgery. He signed it right there. And Doc Ellis, who later on went to be a Pittsburgh Pirate. I believe Doc won 78's championship team. But only 2 of the guys put the actual championships on it. I wanted John to put the Count on it because it was just cool. And so that's what happened. So when I got the first signature on it, I fell in love with it. I went to a shop where they sell sports memorabilia, you know, like jerseys and hats and, you know, all that fun stuff that you see. And he had another clock in the shop. So with another clock in the shop, I had to have it. So I bought it. So then from there on out, whenever I went to get signatures, I made sure that I took both clocks. So one of my buddies kept teasing me on poker nights that he was going to buy it from me one night. And I was like, you're never going to be able to afford to buy that from me. And as a joke, you know, I would have sold it to him. And he just never bought it. So I still have the second clock. In fact, I think it may even still be in the box. I don't know. But it's got all the autographs on it. So, but yeah. So I have 2 of them. I don't know. I guess the other one I'll eventually sell as soon as somebody shows interest. But, you know, I love it. I had to bring it up here and hang it up here, even though it's not running, just because it's such a memorial piece for me to remember it. And I love it. So then I started to go with bats. Sorry about that. This bat is signed by guys that were on nothing but World Series teams. There's Bucky Dent on there. There's Lazinski from the Philadelphia Phillies in 1980. There's Del Jackson from the 77 Yanks. Hector Lopez from the 75. George Foster from the 75-76 Big Red Machine Cincinnati Reds. There's Hector Lopez. He was part of the 62 Pirates. 61-62 Yanks. He was on there with Roger Maris, Mantle, and all them guys, which is pretty cool. My oldest signature on this bat is right here. George Shotgun Shuba from the 1955 Brooklyn Dodgers, which is pretty cool. Mickey Glutz from the 77-78 Yanks. There's a bunch of guys from the 69 Mets. J.C. Martin, Bucky Dent on here from the Yankees. Dave Parker from the Pittsburgh Pirates. Al Jackson from the 69 Amazing Mets. Goose Gossage from the 78 Yanks. Ryan Duran from the 1958 Yankees is on here. I have become a pretty big Yankee fan through collecting autographs because of the fact of the way that those guys carry themselves. It is just an amazing thing to be able to meet those guys and to see that. Now I'm trying to open up this tube because this bat I want you to see outside of the tube. All right. This baseball bat is made by Mizuno. It is made of bamboo. There's the end. That's how the bamboo bats look. This is my Hall of Fame bat. This bat is only autographed by guys who have made the Baseball Hall of Fame. So we start up here with the late Tom Seaver. Then there's the late Yogi Berra. There is Ferguson Jenkins from the Chicago Cubs. Goose Gossage from the New York Yankees. He was also a Padre. Ralph Kiner, who was a Pittsburgh Pirate. He's the Hall of 75. He got in when I was 1 year old, which was kind of cool. A great feller, too, by the way. Don Sutton, who was a longtime Dodger in 98. And Raleigh Fingers, the guy with the awesome mustache from the Oakland A's. The only thing about this bat that's really interesting, other than Yogi was the first to sign it, and they all wanted to sign around him, which I thought was cool, was such a sign of respect. Don Sutton gave me a little bit of a fight, and I say that because he wanted to sign it in Dodger blue, and I was like, no, I need you to, I'd like for you to sign it with my marker, my Sharpie. Because one, I took brand new Sharpies and only let I think a max of 4 or 5 people sign with a Sharpie, and then I would not use it again for an autograph because of the fact that the tip isn't quite as sharp. And, you want these signatures to be crisp and to be elegant. And the last thing you want is a worn out Sharpie used to where the loops are closed, or the dots of the eyes are too big and they run into the signature. You just don't want that stuff. So I really just did not want that to be. The cool thing too about this bat is it's a size 33, which was the size bat that I used when I played. But he wanted to use Dodger Blue, and I was like, no. So it got to the point to where he actually said to me that he says, well, I don't understand why I can't just sign it in Dodger Blue. And I said, well, I'll tell you why. Because at that point I was getting upset. I was like, well, I'll tell you why. The reason why is, one, I paid for the autograph. Two, this is going to be a multi-signed piece. Obviously, you already see there's multiple signatures on it. So I want them all to match. And he's like, all right. So I handed him my Sharpie, and he signed my bat. And we shook hands, and, you know, I thanked him, and that was that, you know. But he would not let me take picture with him, though. So I think he was a little he was a little butthurt, I think. but that's okay. It is what it is, I guess. So that's a touch into my collections, Eric. Thank you so much for this opportunity. If I win, I will notify you. I think I'm going to surprise somebody with the winnings, maybe. We'll see how it works out. So, but anyway, thank you so very much for this opportunity. I'm sorry it took so long, but there's just so many stories I could have told along with this stuff. But you know, it is what it is. So thanks for listening. Thanks for hanging out with me. I hope you've enjoyed it. So until we can get together and pack a pipe or smoke a great cigar, let all that you do be done in love. Y'all take care and God bless.